555 Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our three sports-loving ladies, Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
This is Helmets and Heels
on 1010XL.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
This week has been flying by, Taylor Dahl, as the Jaguars took the field both Monday and today. That was open to media, and that wraps up OTAs. Next week is mandatory minicamp. Fans can get out there on day 2 of minicamp on Wednesday, so make sure you register at Jaguars.com if you want to go out. They did have some families in attendance today, so there were at least a few people there in the stands. But yeah, OTAs... I'm ready for that phase to be over and for us to be able to see them do a few different things. Monday's practice to me was more exciting as far as the 11 and 11 type stuff than today's. Today's definitely seemed like they were taking advantage of the final day with the OTAs to really focus on the install, at least offensively.
Yeah, which I think makes sense. And you have after this next few days, that I think it goes up to the 12th, you have a few more of the mandatory camps, and then it's a gap of time before you get back in training camp. And so
again, all the Jags employees are very excited. I'm sure the players and coaches are too, but coaches feel like we have so much to do.
Yeah.
Players, of course, deserve that break. And then
they're
staff
like, I need a break. Especially the new guy, especially the rookies. And
absolutely.
That's one thing that Brian Thomas Jr. spoke about it today, and I'm sure we'll hear from him a little bit, but he talked about that first year and how much you go through as a rookie, because season ends and then next thing you know, you're not going to stop because you're getting ready for the combine, or if you are in the Senior Bowl, you're dealing with that, and then you're dealing with the combine, and then it's the draft, and then it's the rookie minicamp, and then it's OTAs, and then it's just nonstop. Yeah, and then you're also that install part as a rookie. You're learning everything. You're learning the NFL. You're learning a playbook. You're learning a new offense. You're learning a new quarterback. There's all of these things that are kind of being pushed at you. And then now, I guess this year too, you have a new coach, and luckily, I guess Trevor's still here, but you still have a new offensive scheme and a new head coach. So it's kind of like doing it again a little bit without having to do the combine side of it. But the rookies have it hard their first year when it comes to just go, go, go and everything they have to kind of take in. And so I'm sure they very much enjoy the month of just okay, let me breathe for a second. Not that they're not working out and doing other things, but.
No, and what I love, and Liam Coen talked about this post-practice, these guys are putting in extra time together before practice and after practice. And I think that's really important because the chemistry between Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. needs to be rekindled. I'll put it that way. Obviously, Travis Hunter's new. De'Ami Brown is new. Parker Washington has been here, but I don't think, he's a guy that was on the field a ton when Trevor was on the field. And look, Trevor's working on his footwork and his mechanics. And I think so many people think, well, quarterbacks are always working on that. Not exactly the way that he's working on it for this year. And the fact that they flipped his stance. In other words, when he drops back with the football after it gets snapped from the center, the way that he was turning before, they didn't like that. And they felt like he was, putting himself in a position to be sacked a lot. And so a quarterback has to think all the way through that. We talk to our friend Denny Thompson about this all the time, right? What you want in theory is the quarterback to drop back, get the ball, have an idea of where they're going, have a couple different options, have an idea of where they're going, get that ball out within the first 2 seconds, completion, move those chains and move along. Move those chains. There you go for all the old school Jags fans. And when you have to think about things, whether it's the play call or because it's, of course, like you said, new, or you have to think about your footwork, that slows down then your ability to go to your progressions. And so are we seeing Trevor make mistakes at OTAs? Absolutely. Today he threw an interception. That was I was in the end zone and they were going away from me, but it was clear as day. DeAndre Prince easily picked that ball off. But there were other throws that he made that I thought were really good, including a touchdown reception by Brian Thomas Jr. But, of course, the defense can play a lot faster than the offense because they're just reacting to things. And, yes, they have play calls and things like that. But still, once the ball is snapped, the defense is able to use their eyes, scan the field, and then react. And the offense is still having to think through, especially, like I said, with all those new pieces. The offensive line I'm not going to go into it, but the offensive line did have some different people in there than I saw on Monday. And so I don't know if that's, some rest time, if there are any injuries, tweaks, that kind of thing. But it did seem like they shook it up a little bit. And so I'm fascinated to see next week what that looks like.
Yeah, which that's going to be one of the biggest storylines this offseason, clearly. And there's a lot of big storylines.
In every town, honestly.
Yeah.
Every
And
NFL
the
town.
offensive line is going to be a thing no matter where you are. There's some that are more established, and so it's probably not as big of a storyline just because, in Philly, for example, you kind of feel like you have your offensive line and it is what it is. And yeah, you continue to improve and you don't want to have any injuries and you don't want anybody to take a step backwards. But
the Eagles lost Fred Johnson.
Yeah,
though.
they're really missing Fred. But I do think that for a lot of organizations that have struggled with the offensive line, that is something that everybody knows at this point. We talk about the game starts in the trenches, and that's something that is a major focus. And especially there's a lot of teams around this league now that have had a lot of different formations on the offensive line. And once that happens, you have no cohesiveness with your quarterback. And you can probably directly point to the teams around the league that have dealt with that the most the last few years. And those are the teams that are giving up a lot of sacks. And some of that, to your point a second ago, may be on Trevor. And that may be some of the things that Liam Coen and company now are addressing when they talk about that footwork and the way, because maybe they're saying, hey, well, if we switch this around, maybe some of these sacks wouldn't have happened because of the way that your foot is planted and the things that go, those intricate things that we don't think about.
Yeah, which way your hips are going.
Yeah, and so all of those things, there's this balance of, there's some people that fully are like the sacks are a quarterback number, and then there's some people that are like, no, sacks are all on the offensive line. It's definitely somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it's a gray area for sure.
But to me, it's just been such a sore spot here for a while, and there's been flashes of play. The couple years ago with Anton, you felt like you were like, okay, we have this right tackle that is it. Like, we found the right tackle of the future, and then last year he takes a step back. Why was that?
Luke Fortner, his rookie season looked great.
Yeah, people were so excited about Fortner. Walker Little, we're still kind of waiting to see because he's played all over the line, and like, what does it look like when left tackle is fully his and that's his spot to take? And there's people that say that's not the case, but I do think that the offensive line is always going to be interesting until we feel like you have your starting five that you can fully count on week one. Injuries happen after. What happens beyond that is one thing, but if you have your starting five, or you're like, this is the best five and they should be starting week one hands down, I don't feel like the Jags have had that in a little while.
Certainly injuries play a huge part into this, we know that, but you have to eventually figure out who plays where best, and you have to have a vocal leader. We were talking about this the other day. Like, I thought that person was Cam Robinson, and when he was traded, that they had a void there. If it's someone else, then let's figure out for this season who that voice is going to be, and not necessarily like a rah-rah cheerleader. I don't mean that. Yeah. I mean the person who in the huddle is going to get these guys to communicate and figure out exactly what they need to do. You do feel like you can't even talk about an offense without starting with the offensive line. And I know everyone wants to start with quarterback, but so much of what the quarterback does is dictated by, is he getting protection? And like we've talked about ad nauseum, can they run the football? When it comes to the quarterback side of things, as far as footwork, Liam Coen said post-practice, it's like a dance. The quarterback drop back is like a dance. And I know that Doug Peterson was a former quarterback, and we thought that part of things was solved because Doug was in Trevor's ear so much. But obviously, once that fell apart, it's nice to have, I think, another head coach who's been a quarterback before, who, by the way,
a fresh set of eyes.
Yes, who, by the way, threw the first pitch out last night. He said post-practice also it was a changeup. He got it right across the plate. Someone would have taken it 400 yards, but that's not what matters.
He did good. I like
did. He did a great job. But yeah, I think that is the offensive line we are going to spend so much time discussing. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. With Tony Baselli as the evaluator, I feel much more comfortable. And I know it's Liam Cohen's team. But Tony Baselli, as soon as practice ends, Taylor, you have Tony Baselli, James Gladstone, and Liam Cohen, who walk off the field, the three of them together before Liam meets with media at the podium. I want to know what those conversations are being had. And we've talked about this too. You can't evaluate the offensive line. Liam said that post-practice as well. During this time of things.
Yeah,
you can figure out their communication and their cadence, but you can't figure out how physical they're going to be. But I love that Baselli, though, is a voice now, and he's a respected voice. And to me, his opinion on who he thinks should start on the offensive line does need to be at least heard by the offensive line coach, Sean Surratt, and also by Liam Coen. By the way, Dwan Smoot was out at practice today, and he was participating. Mia caught up with him post-practice, so we'll let you hear from that. She'll be on her way here from the Miller Electric Center in a little bit. But yeah, I watched Dwan Smoot during the positional drills with the edge guys, and it was fun to see Josh Hines-Allen coach him up a little bit with what he should do with his hands. And overall, I saw Liam come up and give him a fist bump and, just them talk a little bit before he went and did his next drill. And so I love his presence being here. Certainly, we'll see what he can contribute as far as sacks are concerned. But with him, obviously, and joining Ogba now as depth pieces, like, this is an exciting, I think, time for the pass rush waves to eventually come back to Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think that my thing, if Smoot can stay healthy, I think we're going to see, and like I said yesterday, I don't think it's going to be 7, 8 sacks, something like that.
He's never had that. Why would that
And
happen?
I think, though, if he stays healthy, I do think we can see 4 sacks from Smoot. And I think those 4 sacks are a good level of expectation of a rotational piece that you're probably not going to see out there a ton, but on certain situational downs he's kind of been that guy that can also get to the quarterback on any down, and that's been kind of his specialty. But and I was thinking about this yesterday after the show because we were talking about it a little bit, and he only had, I think he had 1.5 last year and 1 the year before or something like that. But he also didn't play full season. So in my head, I'm like, if you add another 7.5 games in there, is he not getting 2 more sacks during that time? And then he is up to 3.5, 4 sacks. So I do think he's that type of player if he can stay healthy. And that's been obviously a little bit of an unfortunate issue for him the last couple years. But if he does, I think automatically you're adding somebody who is a 4-sack guy.
And if Agba can bring an additional 5 to 6 sacks to the table, and Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker are both in double digits, then you're talking about sacks.
You're talking about 30 sacks.
Yeah,
like between those 4 guys, and that's to your point yesterday, not talking about some of the linebackers, of Devin Lloyd getting some of them, and maybe sending some corners sometimes and safeties. And so at that point, you're hitting close to 40 sacks, and that's something that the teams that are successful, that's what they're doing.
Absolutely. Speaking of linebackers, the Jaguars did make a couple of roster moves yesterday. They signed linebacker Dennis Gardeck from the Cardinals, and of course, Liam Coen has experience. When the Rams were playing the Cardinals twice a year, he talked about him post-practice too being always a game changer and a guy that they always had to talk about and prepare for, especially special teams as well. And then offensive line, Cooper Hodges was waived with a failed physical designation. Of course, disappointing for
I know,
Tugboat.
poor Cooper. I hate that for him so much.
The 2 season-ending injuries are just absolute killers, and we love him as a person. We loved his cartwheels, and I thought he played well when he was able to play last season before getting hurt again.
Yeah.
But now I wonder about what the future holds for him. I hope that he's able to rehab, fully come back from that, both of the injuries really, but especially the most recent injury, and be able to play on an NFL team again. We talked about it with Ben Barch. Once upon a time, Ben Barch, got hurt really badly as well. I want to say his was also a knee, and then he is now able to play and start for another team in the 49ers. So hopefully that's the career path one day for Cooper Hodges. But for the here and now, the Jaguars did waive him in order to make room for Dennis Gardeck, who was out at practice today, but at least from my vantage point, I did not see him participating with the linebackers. They'll probably bring him a little slowly, as well as Trenton Irwin.
He's probably like this. It's so humid.
It's so humid. Which at least today it was overcast.
Not as bad.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. All right, when we return, we will let you hear from Dwan Smoot. He caught up with Mia O'Brien after practice. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Catch a side draft on a super speedway.
Closing the gap.
This Sunday at Michigan International Speedway.
This time it's going to pay off.
NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on 1010XL.
Mark your calendars. Chicken Salad Chick opens June 10th in Ortega Park on Roosevelt Boulevard. Be one of the first 100 in line on grand opening day and receive free chicken salad for a year. More details on Chicken Salad Chick Ortega Park Facebook page. See you there.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage too.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Got a leaky faucet, AC blowing hot air, a funky smelling septic tank? No worries, Duck Rooter has your back. We're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, so you can stop juggling 3 companies and just make one easy call. Our expert techs are fast, friendly, and really know their ducks. I mean stuff. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
The future starts now.
Let's go!
Follow 1010XL's coverage of organized team activities, cooked up by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Heroes Lawn Care. Keep the off-season rolling with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beards has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beards now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beards Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates. No hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
This is Hayes Carline, and I'm so proud of my guy, Leon Searcy.
Man, I used to want to eat all the time, but just 1 month on Physician Guided Weight Loss, and I've already dropped 15 pounds.
And I lost 25. No side effects, just results.
The GLP, one curbs my cravings and keeps me feeling full. It's been easier than I expected, and I feel amazing.
Their staff is great, and best of all, no surprise costs.
If you're ready to bring sexy back this summer, visit pgweightloss.com.
Physician Guided Weight Loss, safe, doctor supervised.
And it works.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barry here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barry Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to BarryOrthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barry Orthopedics.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, Mia O'Brien has made her way here. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Thursday afternoon. Mia, more than Dwan Smoot, we'll get to him in a second, but biggest takeaways from OTA number 10.
I'm cracking up at the YouTube chat right now. Glad Mia decided to make an appearance. Humdrum says that now I have to do laps after the show. Humdrum, who's to say that I wasn't doing laps and that's why I was delayed? I was running sprints with BTJ. I'm just kidding. I said to Taylor Dahl when I actually sat down to do my quick hits brought to you by Toyota. It was actually funny because I was like, damn, I thought this was one of the liveliest practices that I've covered at the Miller Electric Center. I thought the energy was really high. The fact that Travis Hunter is like every single good, like above average catch. He is sprinting to that teammate, high-fiving him, even after routine passes between he and Trevor Lawrence. There was one in particular that was a pretty routine play. And Trevor, he scrambled, he was like rolling out of the pocket. He went and he just runs out of bounds. And Travis sprints up to him and says, "Hey, great play," and like high-fives him. And then when I see Trevor Lawrence effusing similar energy and encouraging Cam Little to try a 70-yard field goal, I'm like, damn, this is not something that I saw last year all that often. And so maybe it's just a little thing. Maybe I'm reading a little too much into it, but I was very encouraged. Nothing like, oh my goodness, look at this interception, this touchdown, or this, like nothing like that. But it was more so
the energy.
I just was like very surprised, and like the defensive linemen were standing in front of us where the reporters stand, Taylor, and I was very encouraged by the chippiness and just like the talking of like, he's gonna get you know what, like I don't know. I thought it was a very high energy practice from my vantage point. And again, nothing that stands out like crazy plays, a fight, something like that, but just
definitely no fights.
But just like the little things like that, I see what James Gladstone is talking about when he says by inserting a Travis Hunter into your ecosystem, does that rub off onto other people? And today was one of the first days that I came away from it and I said, wow, like there is a little extra pep in the step and moving from one drill, one period to another than perhaps previous Jaguar teams.
See, for me, the OTA on Monday, I thought they did more 11 on 11, and so for me, it was more fun to watch than today.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying, like, there was a lot of indie drills today,
Yeah,
so, like, it wasn't
That's why I called it boring.
Right, that's why, again, I didn't
It's important. Fundamentals are important.
Right, that's
but
why.
for the viewer.
Yeah, that's why I don't have, like, a ton of takeaways,
Right,
but that was, like, something that I was like, look, it could be viewed as boring by a 21 to 33-year-old, but in turn, they're making the mundane fun, or at least injecting some energy into it. And I was like, okay, that's new. We don't see that all that often.
All right, so you got to catch up with Dwan Smoot after practice.
I did.
Smoot.
So good to catch up with our friend. I was pleasantly surprised / kind of shocked. I texted our friends at Jaguars PR last night, and I said, hey, I didn't even ask. Are you guys going to, like, bring Smoot to the podium? Because they've done that previously, especially with former Jaguars who are re-signed. Right. And they were like, no. And I'm like, well, did anyone request him? And they said no. I said, well, I will gladly catch up with one Dwan Smoot. Did he ever leave, though? That's the question. Welcome home, Dwan Smoot, back with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the team that drafted you after a one-year little foray up to Western New York. Walk us through the last week, 2 weeks. When did this first happen, the idea of you coming back here to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The first thing I wanted to say is I couldn't stay away. That's one thing. And I just want to thank God. I mean, he made the opportunity happen. And, it happened, 2-3 weeks ago? Yeah, they called me, and we was going back and forth negotiating some hard negotiations, but we finally figured it out, and it worked out, so I'm home.
Because you never left. As our friend Josh Hines Allen likes to say, you're the LeBron James of Jacksonville. You literally built a school. You've been here. So walk us through. You're in Jacksonville, but what have the last few months been like for you?
I've been working. I mean, I stepped in a role. You know, my wife, she's been running the school, so I've been doing everything I could. Like, I've been a cook. I've been a janitor. I've been a teacher at some times. I mean, I've done everything in that school. So, I mean, I'm just trying to do everything I can to, cultivate that vision, and be her support.
I love it. 1 year in Buffalo. What did you learn? Maybe does distance make the heart grow fonder? What did you enjoy about your time up there?
It definitely makes the heart grow fonder, for sure. I enjoyed my time up there. I mean, it's cold. I'll say that. It's very, very cold.
I tried to tell you. Yeah.
But it was definitely, a different pace, for sure. I mean, the style of football they play up there is a little bit different than down here. I mean, we're more smash mouth. We hitting people in the face. They're throwing the ball everywhere. So, I mean, it was a different pace, but, just learning from both sides in the NFL is completely different.
Matt Edwards is kind of a tie of sorts, would you say?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So describe your relationship with him when you were in Buffalo, and now all of a sudden, is he maybe the recruiter to make this connection with a new regime in Jacksonville happen?
He definitely had a big part in it, for sure. I mean, me and his stint back in Buffalo was great. I mean, I worked my tail off during that time as well too, and apparently I made a good impression. So he definitely put a word in for me, and it made it all happen. And so did Ciano as well too. Eric Ciano, he got hired. Yeah. He's here as well too. So I mean, it's a lot of Buffalo connection here.
I love it. When did you tell 41? When did you tell 44 and the rest of the boys that have been here before?
41 knew. He knew for a long time. He called me like, come on, hurry up, sign it. And then at 44, it was kind of like a surprise. I came in the last couple of days and I surprised him. So, they always cool about it. It hooting and hollering, laughing, and everything. So it's good.
What was that first day you walked back in the building? Like, what are your emotions?
They were very high. I was just happy, smiling from ear to ear, and everybody was happy to see me as well too. I mean, it's hard being away, but it feels good coming back.
We said we'd talk about it, so the number. show the camera So 58. Are we, you're just happy to have a number, right? Or is it, maybe a conversation piece?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, I can make this number, mean something, at the end of it. I mean, we'll see after camp, we'll see what numbers I can switch in and out of. But for right now, I'm going to make 58 great.
Probably a loaded question as we get ready to wrap up with you, Smoot. What's different around this building from the last time that you were here on a regular basis?
Energy. It's a lot of positive energy. A lot of young guys, too. A lot of young. I feel like I am almost the oldest, besides Armstead and Agba. But, I mean, it's a lot of young energy. It's a lot of, I say positive energy, looking forward to the future. I think we're going to have a lot of wins on the column this year. And, I mean, fresh and new is always good. So.
Is there anything from your time here up in Buffalo that you can compare it to, or is this like unlike anything you've seen?
This is unlike anything I've seen. Like back in Buffalo, it's like guys have been there for 10 plus years. I mean, they kind of get it, coaches and everything. So I mean, here, these guys, they came in here with a new energy, a new force. So I mean, I'm just ready to just lock in, and just buy into the program.
As far as edge depth goes, and obviously 41's your guy. You've been I'm sure you were talking to him even while you were in Buffalo last year. Yeah. In terms of edge depth, how would you evaluate where this group is right now?
Oh, we're stacked now. I mean, we got everybody we need. I mean, I don't see a drop off happening at all. Like, just my piece. Like, we had the puzzle. I think I talked about this before. Like, we had the puzzle. It's just that one piece that we were missing, and I like to believe I was that one piece. And now we got a complete puzzle, and we're gonna go out there wrecking shop for sure.
Have you seen anything from some of these young cats? I know a lot of undrafted rookies trotting out there.
Yeah, I have. I mean, they're physical. Really? Was it Miles Cole?
Oh, so he's second year. He's
second year. Well, this is my first year meeting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's somebody that I definitely noticed. Like he's physical. A lot of guys, they got a lot of energy, a lot of juice. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them in camp.
Well, we're very happy to have you back, my friend.
It's good to be back. Thank you.
Good to be back. Dwan Smoot, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Boom. Feels right to have him back in Duval, but
Number 58.
Yeah.
We'll see is what he said. We'll see.
Yeah. I as soon as I walked away, they will remain nameless, but multiple reporters came up to me and they were like, so what did he say? Is he going to buy 94 off of Mason Smith? Is he going to buy 91 off of Armstead? And I was like, no, he said he's going to make 58 grade. And then after that, he'll evaluate once, so long as everything goes according to plan. And after training camp, maybe, see if there's any of those other 90s that are available.
I feel like both would be for sale because it's not like Armstead is committed to 91 here necessarily, or Mason Smith has been here that long to make his name in that jersey number. But at the same time, too, if he wants to stick with 58, who cares?
Yeah.
The two best pass rushers on this team are in the 40s. Yeah. So you don't have to be in the 90s to get a bunch of sacks.
Yeah, like how quickly that part made me laugh when he was talking about his age, because how quickly you go from the youngest guy in the room to one of the oldest guys. And he's like only 30, by the way, which in normal life is not old. But when you have general managers and coaches that are the ages they are around you, I'm sure that makes it feel even more. But it's funny how quickly, that's the first thing that popped in my head, because I was like, I was the youngest one here in this building for so long, and all of a sudden I'm like, dang, I'm getting old.
Heaven's fast. You stay the same age, or no, you keep getting older, they stay the same age. All right, let's hear from Liam Coen, the head coach of the Jaguars, on bringing back Dwan Smoot.
Continuing to add competition to the room, consistency, a guy that obviously, has roots in this area and has strong friendships with some of the guys on the team. And then when you talk to guys that maybe have not been in this building, with Eric Ciano, our strength coach, was with him in Buffalo, and he just said he was a tireless worker in the weight room, on the practice field, consistently going. You kind of had to pull him back at times. And that was something that continuing to get a little bit of veteran presence, guys that have played meaningful reps in this league that can give us some meaningful snaps, hopefully, and continue to create that competition we're looking for. So just getting to know him a little bit seems like obviously he's a grown man, and really cool to get to know him a little bit here.
So, there you have it. Dwan Smoot back in Jacksonville, and it's going to be fun to see how this defensive line in totality, not just the outside guys, but the inside guys, how they progress. You heard Dwan Smoot talk about Miles Cole. Obviously, this is his first time working alongside him, and I'm not going to say there's true competition necessarily. I think Josh Hines-Allen and Trevor Walker are their starters. I believe some combination of Mason Smith, Eric Armstead, and Devon Hamilton are the starters along the interior. But I do think there are those waves, like Liam Coen has talked about, of guys that you can bring in, and not the hockey shift, certainly that we saw last year, but guys to keep the fresh legs.
Well, there's depth.
Right.
That's there is not just break glass in case of emergency. There is, hey, 41 and 44, we're not going to have you playing rock, paper, scissors on the sidelines necessarily, but, if we find ourselves in a situation where you only have to play 65 to 70% of the snaps, right? Maybe we can create an opportunity because once you step off the field, there's no drop-off. There's no defensive tackle trying to play edge. There's no 7th-round rookie who just started playing football 3 weeks ago. Sorry, Miles Cole. That was actually mean. Point being, there was nothing behind those two players, and so there was an obvious drop-off. There will still be a drop-off, to be clear, because 41 and 44 are Pro Bowl caliber players. But at the same time, you won't have as much of a drop-off because it's two established veterans who can both go inside and outside as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about two of the better edge rushers in the league, and then some other guys who I think can still get and make impact and still get to the quarterback. But yeah, there's still going to be a little bit of a drop-off, but the positive part is that you don't feel like you have to have them out there. There's been times this last couple years where if it wasn't Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker on the field, you felt like you had no chance to get to the quarterback. And I do feel like that vibe changes a little bit this year. It does also, I mean, Agba, I think he's still in the world where you're expecting that probably 6, 7, 8 sacks from him. Smoot, you've got to see. And Mia, before you walked in, I just said, if healthy, you want Dwan Smoot to be able to stay healthy. But if Dwan Smoot's healthy, you're going to get 3-4 out of him.
And that's what, we talked about it yesterday, but ultimately what those two players signify, yes, and Lauren, I know, illustrated it, and I agree. They can create opportunities for other players. But if you need to go get a sack, and 41 and 44, for whatever the reason, are unavailable, I trust both of those two players to go get you a sack. Yeah. And you could not say that last year.
Yeah, you're not looking on the sideline like, oh, no. Like Josh Hines-Allen staying on the sideline. No, now we're not ever going to get out of this.
Or, get your hands up and bat the ball down, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sack is the easy thing that we point to because that's the statistic. But affecting the quarterback, whether it's the pressure and, like I said, batting the ball down, whether it is getting finally the actual sack, if it's making the quarterback throw that ball out too fast and you get an interception out of it, there's so many things that can happen if you can affect the quarterback. And now, yes, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 guys.
Yeah, you're not having 9-minute drives. That helps a lot.
Well, if the other team can run the ball consistently on the Jaguars defense, then actually they still might have those sustained 9-minute drives. But that's a story for another day.
Great submission from 586 off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Please talk a little bit about the impact of Eric Ciano so far. His Buffalo exit was a little shocking, but he now plays a crucial role in redefining the weight reconfiguration of the defensive players, among other things. I couldn't agree more, 586.
They were furious, a lot of people in Buffalo, that he was let go.
He was there for 15 years. Yeah. He was the trainer of the year. As much as
and the Bills didn't look slow and fat last year.
Yeah, as much as you can say, oh, maybe he lost his fastball. No, you don't lose your fastball in that profession. At least I don't believe you do. And again, and I talked to Ezra Cleveland about it earlier in the week, about the Iron Jaguar competition, the Iron Man competition, and what sort of competitive spirit Ciano has been able to bring to the offseason program and to the weight room, which is ironic considering that a year ago, Trent Baalke sat at the podium and said that he wanted more competition in the weight room and that he and his whistle were going to instill it. Mm-hmm. No, you needed someone who's not only established in the profession, but also has such a nuanced understanding of where the league is headed. Mm-hmm. And I've had a couple players and coaches who have echoed this to me. And there's a reason that up in Buffalo, consistently year over year, well, yes, there have been injuries. They've been largely freak injuries.
Yeah.
You haven't seen as many soft tissue. Like the Matt Milano situation, there's not a whole heck of a lot you can do with the back-to-back freak injuries for him during games. Their injuries, if anything, I feel like it's always like a freak collision, right? I mean,
they've had a ton of those.
DeMar Hamlin, obviously.
They've had a ton of those, but I think in that same light, the moment that they have had one of their main guys go down, the next guy comes up and he's just as ready to be there. And that's a testament, obviously, to their defensive play calling, but also him getting these guys ready and being able to get them at that size and playing weight that can come in and replace a guy like a Milano.
And sometimes rest is so important. And if you're rushing guys back and they don't get the rest for those soft tissue injuries, then you're going to re-injure them. And then you're back to square one and you don't have the guy for even longer. So sometimes the strength and conditioning is more of a, let's take a step back and let's give this player the day off, whether it's not necessarily OTAs, but I mean like training camp. Let's give this veteran rest, like, because we know that thanks to all the sports science nowadays, like if we keep pushing them in this heat at that age with all the experience they have, like that may not be the best solution. So it'll be interesting to see their decisions on that when we get to July. All right, Jeff Loggeman had a very interesting comment on one Travis Hunter. We'll let you hear that on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The head football coach at the Episcopal School of Jacksonville, Mark Burnell.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select
1010XL.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of both new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team will always put your best interests first, without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at HodgesMazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coating. We transform pool decks, driveways, and patios with pro precision.
Checkmate Coating, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 5th, 1977, the Portland Trail Blazers hold off the Philadelphia 76ers by a final score of 109-107, winning the NBA championship in 6 games.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
It's a battle of football champions as your Sharks take on the Arizona Rattlers. Don't miss any of the action this Saturday, June 7th. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new Family 4-Pack. 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
It's a battle of football champions as your Sharks take on the Arizona Rattlers. Don't miss any of the action this Saturday, June 7th. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try our Family Fun Pack. 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700.
Go Sharks! If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Coen floral arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at CoenFlowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Color commentator and, of course, former Jaguars linebacker Jeff Lageman is in the radio booth each and every week alongside Frank Frangie. And when Jeff Lageman says something about a Jaguars player, my ears perk up, especially if it's as complimentary as Jeff was on Travis Hunter.
Take notes of all the people that want to have that opinion about Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. Take notes on all of them.
Oh, yeah, those receipts.
Because you know what? Those receipts are going to come back to haunt every person that said anything about Travis Hunter, because I'm just going to tell you right now, watching that guy, he is gifted beyond anybody that I've ever watched. I'm talking. Look, I'm 57 years old. Okay, I've been in this NFL game for.
You're not that old, man.
I am.
Come on, man.
Okay, since I was 21 years old. And I'm here to tell you, this is one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen, I've ever laid eyes on. I'm talking, this guy is gifted beyond gifted.
You know who probably, and I haven't talked to him yet.
So there you have it.
Yeah. I think that if you watched Travis Hunter in college, you saw that. You saw the athleticism. It jumps out of everything he does when it comes to, obviously, the way he would run, and that's been one of the criticisms is the route running. And I know we've talked about it a little bit of that. Maybe don't be so concerned about that side of things because he's so knowledgeable when it comes to, like, his football IQ is high too, so that stuff will come. But when it comes to the speed, when it comes to the way he can kind of track the ball, when it comes to the way he can catch the ball, when it comes to the way, like, everything he does in the game, it just pops off as, like, the athletic side of things. And we've seen some of, I think if you go through NFL history, and most people would probably, like, Bo Jackson's one of the first names you would say as one of the most athletic people. And
Deion
there's
Sanders.
a Deion, a Randy Moss, like, those are the guys that you'd start listing in that realm. And if you're listing those guys and Travis Hunter's in that conversation in 10, 15 years, then you've done it right. And we will never talk about the trade up ever again and whether it was right or wrong. You've also seen very athletic people not work. And I'm not saying that he's not, because I truly think that Travis Hunter will. I think the decision of where and how much and all of that will still be a factor, especially in the first few years. But athleticism, we've seen some of the most athletic people ever come into the NFL, and you're like, why isn't this working? And so I do think that the landing spot for him was important too. And so I'm really excited, and most people would probably mock this around the league because they'd be like, the Jaguars, really? But I think that with this current coaching staff and the way that this regime has kind of turned this corner and really feels like they're figuring things out, this was one of the best landing spots for Travis Hunter, because he also gets to come here, and there's already a Brian Thomas Jr. here that you don't have to come in and be this number one wide receiver and a number one cornerback in one time right away. And there's some teams where he would have had to do that if he would have got drafted by them.
Teams that only wanted him for one position.
One thing, yeah, and forced him into that, and then he's unhappy, and then he would have done it because he's the sweetest, happiest, cutest guy in the entire world.
Yep.
But
and he's a team guy, as we talked about. Like, that was my biggest takeaway today, is after every above average play, he's the one who's sprinting over and congratulating the teammate.
He's like that little, like, he just has so much energy, and there's some of those older guys are probably like, oh my gosh.
Well, and what's interesting
does it
is,
ever
like,
run out?
His cardio is so incredible.
I do want to note, it's like not even like teacher's pet, like trying to like get all like, you know, the attention of the coaches and the vets by being
look at me.
No, it's just literally, he's just like, hey, good job, dude. Like, high fives.
Yeah.
Like, and I just was like, that's a little thing, but that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Well, and he's comfortable being vocal. Not every rookie is comfortable being vocal.
Yeah.
And yes, some are quieter. Like Brian Thomas Jr. is a quieter guy as far as what we see. And other guys are just not yet comfortable. Like eventually they're going to be more vocal. But as a rookie, they're kind of waiting in the wings.
Or you have the rookies who are vocal, not from a like
a Jarian Jones.
But not even that. But I mean from like in the classroom, they're asking 25 questions.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, shut up, kid. And like, you know, who would raise his hand? So I don't feel bad singling him out, because there's a couple guys who I know have come into the league, and that's kind of been what they've been known for. This guy's going to have no issue that I'm saying he's one of them, that being one Cam Little. Like, that's just who he is, you know? And that's authentically his MO.
Yeah.
But
he's not asking questions to get the attention.
No,
he's asking questions because he has a lot of questions.
He has a lot of questions, right? Exactly. But I also and that's what I'm saying. With him, I think it's just
the Y generation.
Yes, he has a lot of questions.
But there are some rookies that even I think if they have questions, they're a little too shy to ask those questions because they don't want to look stupid. Because even though we're taught at a young age, there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah.
We all have asked those questions, and you get mocked immediately. Like, are you an idiot? Like, why didn't you think all the way through that before you asked that?
I think Logan verbatim said to me last summer, he's like, Cam's got a lot of questions.
And for the kicker,
it was either Logan or someone on the team.
Because it's the kicker, obviously, in this situation. But I do think to have that confidence that Travis Hunter brings to the table is great for this new coaching staff too. Like, they don't have to wonder what is he thinking at certain times. He's going to be able to tell them what he's thinking. And I've talked to people that Brian Thomas Jr., again, from the outside might be quiet. He's not quiet in the building.
No, he's not.
And he certainly is growing more and more comfortable within his own skin when it comes to the media. But what you see when it comes to meeting with the media is not at all what's going on in the locker room or in the meeting rooms.
Right. Yeah. No, even today I heard stuff that like he is truly coming into his own. It's and like I understand.
We saw moments of it last year.
Right.
Like when that competitiveness came out of him in certain games, you were like, BTJ,
once he steps in between the lines on the field, like BTJ out here talking to anybody. But I think to Lauren's point, I think he was a little bit shy and, you know, played second fiddle to the veterans. He did not want to step on any toes.
Yeah.
And I would argue, I mean, even Jarian, you know, I think he came in with a lot of energy, but I would say like similarly, like he said, okay, like your show, I'm here when it's my time, let me know. I'm going to give you my thoughts, but ultimately, like that's your thing. But Travis Hunter, we are all a part of the Travis Hunter show, like it or not.
And I do think that college experiences probably shaped that a little bit too. And like Brian Thomas Jr., obviously we talk about Malik Neighbors and just kind of the offense in general that he was going up against at LSU or was playing with, but still like you were kind of that guy that
won the Heisman.
Yeah. And so you have these guys that are being talked about constantly. You have a Malik Neighbors who was drafted in the top 5 and all of these guys. And so I do think that he was quietly that guy where people are like, oh, wow, he had 17 touchdowns and we didn't even talk about that enough because there was a Malik Neighbors and a Jaden Daniels on that same team. Travis Hunter was Colorado pretty much outside of, obviously, Shedeur, who we saw what happened with that. But Travis Hunter was the guy that everybody was talking about at Colorado. And so I do think that probably factors into some of it. Travis Hunter is used to being that guy, used to being kind of in that limelight of being like, I can be like, hey, look at me. And I think Brian Thomas Jr. kind of had his role at LSU, and he carried that. And I do see him breaking out of that because he is wide receiver 1 here. And so you're going to see these baby steps of him being like, I am wide receiver number 1.
I think if you were to go to OTAs not knowing the season that Brian Thomas Jr. had last year, I don't know that you'd walk away, just in the OTAs that open to media, I don't know that you'd walk away and say that guy was that good of a receiver last year, because I think there's times that the Trevor to De'Ami Brown connection is stronger. Again, this is just OTAs. Now, the fluid movement, don't get me wrong, but you'd also be like, wow, Travis Hunter and some of those routes. All right, speaking of questions, by the way, here's Brian Thomas Jr. post-practice about Travis Hunter, asking him a lot of those questions.
Yeah, he been asking a lot of questions, but I mean, that's just him trying to be the best that he can be. Just like talking like through routes, talking through little things, plays, and why we run these certain plays versus these certain looks. So just like little things like that. I mean, he wants to be the best. We both want to be the best. So we just come out and compete each and every day. And whatever he needs help with, I'm gladly helping.
And Trevor echoed that when he spoke last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, that he felt in the meeting rooms he was very impressed with not only the level of intelligence of the questions that Travis Hunter is asking, but also the idea of him being unafraid to say, hey, I think you should do it this way. And that's obviously a massive development. I actually disagree, Lauren. I think when you look at what we've seen so far, like, yes, the De'Ami Brown, Trevor Lawrence connection, a lot's been made about that so far, just because they both just, met each other like 4 months ago or something like that, or at least in terms of being teammates. They only became teammates back in March. I think that when you do view, which there will be an open mandatory minicamp for fans next Wednesday, I think when you do view this team, whether it's next Wednesday or training camp, if you have the ability to get out there, I think what you'll come away from is if there's a wide receiver that is going to be targeted and intentionally like, oh, this is the guy we got to get the ball to. I have come away from practices and felt like, oh, they're trying to ensure that BTJ, and they're not even having to like try. He's just getting the ball. Whereas last year, maybe you had to like literally say, okay,
we need to get the ball to Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because Christian Kirk, that was seamless, and Evan Ingram, like it was just okay. That's just part of
Those
the
were
natural
his safety blankets, so he went there. Yeah,
the natural hierarchy said that that's where he went. And I feel like you're seeing a lot more of Brian Thomas Jr. by virtue of he is now your number 1 wide receiver, which to your point, Taylor, I would say go back to LSU, not that era, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., but the 2019 national championship team. Jamar Chase was a true freshman.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson was the one who was about to enter the NFL draft. And while both certainly got a spotlight, I would argue Jamar Chase was who more people wanted to talk about, despite the fact that now we turn around and, well, yes, both are top 3 receivers in the league.
Those worked out pretty well.
Many people have argued that Jay Jettos is actually
number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I mean by, I don't know if you know about the season he had last year, is not so much that they're not targeting him or they are targeting him. It's more he doesn't command the ball at every snap. Like, if we went to a Bengals OTA, I feel like you would walk away and you'd be like, yeah, Jamar Chase is
He's
by far
guy.
the number 1 guy. That's what I'm saying is it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
That you're not sure which is the wide receiver 1. And again, it's just OTAs. Training camp will change things for sure, or could. But you're walking away going all 3 of those options and then add in Brenton Strange too. And to me, by the way, Tank Bigsby, we've said this last year, so fast. Like, he looks to me even faster this year. Like, there's a lot of options. Like we've said, he's got a lot of weapons this year. And I think that's a really good thing because now teams are going to have to try and figure out, defenses are going to have to try and figure out who to take away. But good luck. Like, you want to double up Travis in the slot one time? Go for it. Or Brian Thomas Jr. in the slot one time? Go for it.
It's why I'm no fantasy football expert, but if you want to pick up De'Ami Brown or Brenton Strange, that's it. It's probably a good call because I think they're going to get some targets.
I think so too. All right. On the other side, I'll let you hear from Liam Coen on his quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Because you love the game. And so do we. 1010XL.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, your septic system decides to act up. You know what I'm saying. The good news, though, You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They are your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning, all under one roof. You've heard me say it before when my AC went out not once but twice 2 summers ago. When we had septic issues, my first call, the guys at Duck Duck Rooter. And of course, there's also 5-star reviews on Google if you don't want to take my word for it. Give them a ring at 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and Triumph has been a legend on-road. They've branched out to their off-road division as well. Give us the latest on what you can find on the asphalt.
They've got some great new products. They've got the Scrambler 400s you can get into for a little less than you might think. It's a great price point bike, but still a Triumph.
So affordability is also part of the equation.
It is, and it looks good, and it rides good.
CyclesofJacksonville.com, or check them out on their Facebook page, the showroom ready and waiting for you on Atlantic near Regency at Cycles of Jacksonville.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
Hey, Hicken here. Tired of glasses or contacts? Discover customized vision solutions at Bowden & Associates. Dr. Bowden's team offers cutting-edge options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses or refractive lens exchange and classic LASIK, designed to fit your life. Picture perfect vision for reading, driving, or just enjoying the day. It's easier than you think. Call now for your free screening. Bowden & Associates, they're keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Zero Res. They want to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at $129 and 20% off your air duct cleaning. Call them 904-287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. The number 9 seed Florida State baseball team's postseason run will continue at number 8 seeded Oregon State in a best-of-3 series in the Super Regional. The winner of that Super Regional will advance to the 2025 Men's College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. Game 1 will be tomorrow. Florida State men's golf rising junior Tyler Weaver has qualified for the 125th U.S. Open. Weaver will make his major championship debut at the Oakmont Country Club in Pittsburgh June 12th through the 15th. Currently 86 degrees at 12:59. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, breaking news.
Do you know the meme of when it says it has been blank days since our last chaos? Lauren, that's
wiped down to 0.
Yes, that's how I feel about this breaking news, Lauren Brooks.
I mean, if you're a Jags fan, you're really not surprised. If you're a Colts fan, you are shaking your head, as head coach Shane Steichen said today that Anthony Richardson has a shoulder injury and will not throw at minicamp next week. Ian Rappaport reporting that that's the same AC joint that he injured last season. So Daniel Jones is set for more reps. Look, we have yet to see Anthony Richardson make it through an entire season at really any level of football. And so that's why people mocked the Colts for bringing Daniel Jones in. I understood why the whole time, though, because they knew that they needed another guy because Anthony Richardson most likely isn't going to make it through the season. Is Daniel Jones the best possible guy that they could bring in? I'm not going to say yes to that. I certainly wouldn't want him as the quarterback here. He reminds me a lot, and I know there are Blake Bortles fans out there that are going to hate this, but he reminds me a lot of Blake Bortles. At times, some good moments, and at times, some embarrassing moments.
For those watching on YouTube, I'm writing up on the chalkboard right now. It has been 0 days since the last AR injury.
That really has to be so frustrating because every time with Anthony Richardson now in the start of his career, anytime now you make this happen, you're stopping this development all over again and that's something that he needed, and that was a conversation coming into the NFL of, he has the potential because he is athletic and he has an arm, and there's just things that he has to make better decisions, and sometimes he way overthrows receivers, and there's a lot of problems, but some people thought that with the right development, you could coach some of that stuff out of him or fix some of those things. But every time an injury happens, you're halting that. And so it's really, like you said, for Jags fans, you don't want that quarterback to be successful on the other teams. But for Colts fans and maybe even some Gator fans who just wanted to see some success out of Anthony Richardson or a Gator quarterback in general, in the NFL, then it's kind of a bummer. And when you look at their depth chart, and when we were talking about the kind of the battles throughout and some of the interesting dynamics of the quarterback rooms around the league, I said Daniel Jones would be starting at some point, and I would guess by like week 5. And I said part of that because of injury, part of that also I wouldn't be surprised if AR was benched again. There's just too many issues, and when you can't consistently work on them because of injuries, then you're never going to get to the level that you actually need to get to.
Yeah, this doesn't mean that he won't be fully healthy by the time, whether it's training camp rolls around or certainly the season. There's a ton of time for that. But the fact that it's the same AC joint makes me wonder, and I'm clearly no doctor here, but it makes me wonder if maybe he should have had surgery to repair this when it was injured. Because if it's lingering now, I mean, the season ended in early January for the Colts. They battled, but they didn't make the playoffs. And so this is now an injury that's 5 months removed, or you're 5 months removed from that injury. And so, I have no idea. We talked about that with DJ Lagway. Should he have had shoulder surgery? I don't know. But it shouldn't be lingering to this point, I wouldn't think. And they're not saying it's soreness like CJ Stroud. They're not saying, well, it's just a little sore. We're being precautionary, but we have no issues with it, or we have no concerns with it. With Anthony Richardson, he's not throwing a single day at minicamp. They're already telling us that.
Yeah. He also didn't play since 12/22.
Late December. Yeah. It's I guess the previous years when they battled for the playoffs with Gardner, not last year. But
he was inactive the final 2 games this season too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see now that. Okay, so now you wonder, should they hedge their bets and just say, Daniel Jones, you're our starter?
Oof.
Like, you're taking...
I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
You're taking all the first team reps next week? Yeah, if you want to have Riley Leonard as backup, for sure. But, I don't know that I want to split team reps if Daniel Jones now in minicamp is going to get all those first team reps and develop at least some of a connection with these receivers. I don't know that I then want to yank it back and go back to splitting reps.
Does it kind of feel like that room is a lot of they're the same?
Yes. They are. That's why I've said if you take Daniel Jones and AR and you mush them together, you
even
get
Riley
Leonard.
Leonard was that. Obviously the inconsistency. You could see the arm in certain moments. They could run like crazy, which is cool, but
hurt every other game. Yeah. And Trent's our resident Colts fan here at HQ, and the way he just came in to your question, Lauren, of could you just trot Daniel Jones out there and say he's the starter for now, and we're giving AR time to heal, and that's kind of the excuse to give him a longer leash. The way that he came in here and looked like a wounded puppy as a Colts fan, that's the reality of it. AR still is the one sliver of hope that Colts fans have, for better or worse. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think you could take that away from them, even with the Indiana Pacers and Indiana Fever doing what they're doing down the street. You would think they'd be happy, but that is the one little hope they have. Now, on the contrary, I would say when you look at how Shane Steichen was able to completely scheme Gardner Minshew into 9 wins, because AR really didn't play all that much his rookie season, could he do the same for Daniel Jones? But then the question becomes, well, is 9 wins is good enough potentially to win the South, but is 9 wins what you are settling for? And you once again find yourselves in a quarterback carousel year over year.
Or maybe they end up tanking and Daniel Jones leads the way in the tankathon. And they have Anthony Richardson as a backup moving forward.
Like Gardner did once upon a time. He did. Lauren also said in the 12 o'clock hour when we were reviewing today's OTA here in Jacksonville, no fights. There's fights.
Not even close.
There's fights up in New York. Not here in Jacksonville, but there is a fight. I'm going to read Connor Hughes, of course, does a great job covering the Jets and the Giants for SMY. I'm going to read both of his tweets because this is a lot. Huge fight at Giants camp. Brian Burns sprinted in from the sideline, tackled Hudson. I don't know who Hudson is because they have 2 offensive linemen with the last name Hudson. To the ground in a fight. Kayvon Thibodeau threw punches. Tension started the play before, almost went down there. Hudson and Burns had to be separated. After the next play, though, things really broke out. Burns and Hudson started the play before. Both players were taken to the sidelines. Jermaine I always butcher his name. Illuminor. That's how I pronounce it. And Kayvon Thibodeau then got into it on the next play. More punches thrown. Sidelines came together. Hudson got involved again. Yeah. So
I get it. I've wanted to punch people. I understand. You're battling each other
after that.
There's no pads, but still, somebody gets under your skin enough times, and you just want to slug them. I understand.
Especially those trenches. Could you imagine? You're just in each other's faces, and you're hot, and they're probably saying mean things just to get under each other's skin.
Because you're preparing your teammate for what's going to happen in a real game. You think they're nice. The opposing team is nice to you. No,
it reminds me so much of when Gardner Minshew had the quote about Max Crosby. And he was he kept calling me a little ass boy.
Yeah. For the record, I never have punched anyone, but I've absolutely wanted to. All right, I told you I would let you hear from Liam Coen on his own quarterback. Had to certainly let you know about that Anthony Richardson news. But here's Liam Coen and the growth that he wants to see from Trevor.
Yeah, I think, when you look at maybe the first few days of OTAs and really even phase 2 that we were out here on the grass, I think his footwork has drastically improved. I think just the rhythm of playing the position in every system is different, right? The drop of a quarterback is very similar to a dance. And so each song, right, has a different rhythm. Each play has a different rhythm. each systems have different rhythms. And so continuing to develop that for him so that, we talk about footwork so much because when the game is being played, we know it's lived in the gray, but we're trying to create black and white lines for footwork, for reads, for timing, because when the things start moving, oftentimes you have to revert back to your fundamentals, your footwork, your timing. And so I think he's taken a step in that area, as well as just the overall operation. Like, that's what I've really looked for him in this time, has been, okay, really focusing on his lower half and his footwork, and then also just running the show. Like, I'm not really judging, does he make every single throw right now? Is every single ball perfectly accurate right now? Is he operating the offense at a high level? Yes, he is right now.
That's what you want to hear. And is he making every throw accurately to this point? No, he threw another interception today, but that's not what Liam Cohen's worried about. So don't you people be
but they will. But they will.
He wasn't worried about that with Baker either.
Exactly.
And because guess what? What was Baker's touchdown to interception ratio, Taylor?
And he also fumbled, by the way.
Yes, and that is something that I know he only played 9 games last year, but that was clearly a point of emphasis for Trevor Lawrence and the previous regime. And for the most part, that was eradicated last year. Now, the interceptions, unfortunately, that's where you want that 2-to-1 ratio because you also don't want to coach the artist, the gunslinger out of a quarterback either.
Yeah, taking chances.
Yeah.
You just want them to take chances in the right moments. And that's why I always talk about that situational football. If you're up by a touchdown, don't throw the interception that, especially like a pick six, like in that moment. Be smart about it. If you're down by a touchdown, by all means, like if there's a minute left, like you go out and you do whatever it takes to try and win the game, and you can take risks. One other piece of NFL news, Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin has grown frustrated, according to reports, with the team over the lack of progress on a long-term contract extension and was not out there with the team today. Terry McLaurin was a huge part of that Commanders offense last year. Clearly wide receiver 1. De'Ami Brown no longer there.
Yeah.
I wonder what happens. I'm assuming that they're going to pay him.
Figure something out.
That they're going to pay him.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing, Terry McLaurin will be 30, so you're looking at a guy that's a little bit older, but you're also looking at a guy went to the point of the importance of him and Jaden Daniels last year. He had half of Jaden's touchdowns were to Terry McLaurin. Jaden had 140 QBR when targeting Terry McLaurin, and of his 9 picks, none came when targeting Terry McLaurin. Take away Terry McLaurin out of that offense, and you have 12 touchdowns
and you have
probably 55% completion percentage.
You have your quarterback on a rookie contract,
Yeah.
So it's not like you're being squeezed, for dollars at this point in time because of your quarterback's salary.
For those who are keeping score, here's what the rest of the Commanders' wide receiver room looks like. Deebo Samuel, who they traded a 5th-round pick for this offseason. Luke McCaffrey, a 3rd-round pick, the younger brother of Christian from a season ago. Michael Gallup, KJ Osborne, formerly of the Minnesota Vikings. Jalen Lane, a rookie out of Virginia Tech, or Virginia, I forget which one he is, one of the two. And then Noah Brown. So there's pieces, but you don't have a scary Terry necessarily because we don't really know where Deebo currently sits in terms of health, in terms of what he can do in that offense versus what he did in San Francisco.
I forgot about Michael Gallup, honestly. That, like Cowboys, there was that stretch of Cowboys time where it felt like they had like 5 really good wide receivers.
Yeah, because they spread the ball around there for sure. Jalen Lane, my computer's thinking. It's Virginia Tech.
Yeah,
so he played with Bashal too.
I was right the first time.
Yes. Always go with your gut. Isn't that what they tell us? All right, so I'll give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. On the other side, also want to talk a little hockey and a little NBA. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Dan Higgett.
You're a lot smarter than I look.
Jeff Prosser.
I talk the talk and I walk the walk, baby.
They are the Drill.
Maybe dumb, fellas, but I'm not stupid.
Mornings on 1010XL.
I'm just a little bit curious as to how you managed to wind up with them.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal Conditions.
Ideal Conditions Heating and Air Conditioning is your go-to for all AC repairs and replacements. Just gas your AC. For exceptional service, call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com to schedule your estimate today.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Ready to add some value to your day? The everyday deals at Sonny's have got you covered. Right now, you can get the pork big deal for 10, the pork and rib combo for 12, all you can eat ribs for $19.99, and our new loaded barbecue potato for $11. Available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pit masters since '68.
To catch more fish, you gotta think like a fish. Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services, and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Attention North Florida, it's time to elevate your game night. Head to Best Bet, your premier destination for poker. With locations in Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine, we have a seat ready for you. Whether you're a seasoned poker player or just starting out, we have you covered with easy-to-learn games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker. And it's not just poker. With delicious food, lively bars, and big screen events, there's something for everyone. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com. And ante up for fun.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Nata, or an Ultra. Maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
Yo, Jacksonville, Hickens Hype. Checkmate Coatings crushes it with floors I'd put in my own pad.
I'm Brendan with Checkmate Coatings. We coat it all. Garages, pool decks, driveways, and patios. Be the envy of your neighbors.
Rush to checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings. Your floor's missing piece.
The best golfing weather is upon us, and Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to enjoy your next round of golf with us. Our welcoming atmosphere and love for golf keep our friends coming back. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
Want your son or daughter to enjoy sports year-round? Then log on to i9sports.com with summer and fall registration open right now, including girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows, plus plenty of other spots and sports on the First Coast. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 for a discount.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite Roofing Contractor, lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjacks.com.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. If you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
This Father's Day at Lowe's, score free gifts for the greatest dad. Right now, get a free Blackstone 8-piece accessory kit when you buy a Blackstone 28-inch griddle. Plus, get 2 free select Craftsman V20 tools when you buy an RP brushless drill and impact driver combo kit. Shop these deals and more this Father's Day at Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 6/15 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Cause I'm in the stars tonight. So watch me bring the fire, set the night light.
All right, time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day, as always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com, Terminix.com. Took care of all of the pest issues that we've had. We used to have little ants in the house. Those are gone. If you have any pest issues, mosquito issues, termite issues, make sure you contact our friends at Terminix. They take care of Everbank Stadium, VyStar Ballpark, VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and so many of your favorite event venues around town. Before I get to the pest of the day, Taylor, you were at the VyStar Ballpark last night.
I was.
How was it, and how was Liam Cohen's first pitch?
He did fantastic. Very proud of him. We were kind of sitting over to the side on the side of the dugout because one of the former Cubs that used to play was on the Cubs World Series team is playing for the Marlins now. So we wanted to say a little hello. And then I'm like looking over, waiting for Albert Almora to come up, and Liam Cohen comes up, and I'm like, oh, hey, Coach. Hey, Coach. But yeah, he did fantastic. I sat up. I was telling you guys, I sat up in the new power alley, which is in like right field. Fantastic. I recommend to anybody if you want to go out there, especially once it starts heating up, because it's the air-conditioned section out there, which is very nice. But you get your own little bar area. You have your own food over there. The seats, you can sit inside. There's tables inside. There's also the areas where it's like bleachers, but you get the kind of bar level so you can still set your drinks and food and everything on it. It was great, though, so highly recommend the Power Alley if you have not tried it. But the Jumbo Shrimp have just done such a good job. I love going to baseball games in general, but everything they've done with these renovations just have made everything even more convenient. You have so many options for stuff now. You can sit at the Tiki Bar. You have the Power Alley. You have the, home plate.
The home plate club.
The home plate club now. All the normal seats if you're just one of the traditional people, but they just do such a good job. And the Shrimp won last night. It was a really good game. They were hitting like crazy. The Durham tried to steal multiple times. The Shrimp caught him stealing, I think, 3 times last night. So a really fun game. A lot of deep balls last night. I think the wind was kicking out a little bit because they were definitely pushing deep into outfield last night. But it was really, really fun.
I love it. And yeah, Liam Cohen said he used a change-up to get across the plate. So well done by him. I saw the videos, and it looked like it was a beautiful night. Like
yeah,
you
it
said,
was great.
As long as there's no storms, it's always a gorgeous night.
And it was honestly because it was there was a little bit of rain earlier in the day, so that also cooled it off a lot. So by the time we got there, I was like, this is actually very nice. We're not into that middle of summer yet where there's no escaping it.
We were last week. Last week we were there, but now we're back.
All of May, we were in the throes of the summer heat, and then it's backed off a little bit, which has been lovely. All right, the pest of the day are people who say that OTAs don't matter at all. I'm not saying that you have to live and die by every single thing that happens in OTAs. Not saying that at all. You can go out to a practice, you can take it in, you can take your takeaways and move right along in life and not be able to necessarily say, this is 100% what's going to happen this season. This person's going to start versus that person. But people who say that OTAs don't matter whatsoever, I don't think that they understand how installs work, especially with a new coaching staff. So again, you don't have to look at the stats that are coming out of OTAs and say, well, I'm going to project how this player is going to play this season. But they do matter. There is a reason that they have them. I actually think stuff like OTAs and minicamp might even be a little bit more important for the starters than even the preseason, because a lot of the starters won't even play in the preseason. So to me, this time of year is so important. You can extrapolate, I think, some things. But moreover, it's what these guys do out on quote unquote the grass that I think matters a lot, which leads me into the Browns. And of course, they're still putting the stats out for their quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, as of yesterday, was 4 out of 7, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Shedeur Sanders, 9 out of 14, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Kenny Pickett, 9 out of 15, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And Dylan Gabriel, 11 out of 20, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. When you hear those stats, like Gabriel, obviously 3 touchdowns, no picks, 11 out of 20 sounds great. But we have no idea what the situations are on the field. And so I don't think they know who's going to be their quarterback. It seems like, reading between the lines, Joe Flacco, with his experience at age, 40, 41, is leading the way a little bit. But other people are saying, no, the rookies are turning heads. So it's important for the coaching staff to figure it out.
It's just so, at this point, I feel like, okay, I think Shedeur has 18 touchdowns and 2 picks, and Dylan Gabriel probably 10 and 3 or something like that. And so we're looking at it. It's just so funny to me because you don't know the situational circumstances in general. But also, I feel like I haven't heard a lot of direct just talking about that, like, Shedeur had a great day. This is what he did. They're posting these stats, but they're not telling you exactly how they're looking and, like, from start to finish of some of these. And yes, it's OTAs, so there's only so much you're seeing anyways from the quarterbacks. But this, I truly have no idea at this point who's going to be starting week 1. I truly don't.
I've already cited the meme from The Simpsons of it has been blank days since our last. This feels like the Office. It is your birthday decor. The birthday party that Jim Halpert threw with Dwight. That's what this graphic feels like from ESPN Cleveland, where it's just, I mean, look, it's got more color than the Office. It is your birthday sign had, but it's just like so basic and elementary. This thing has over 770,000 views right now on Twitter alone. Like, this is as someone who lives in the multimedia content world, like, this is amazing content. And yeah, this is part of OTAs. It's part of silly season. I applaud ESPN Cleveland for doing the heavy lifting. Not that it was that heavy, but hey, listen, credit to them. And maybe
should we worry that their defense sucks because they only have like 3 picks?
I
and 6
have a feeling
practices.
Miles Garrett's not getting after these quarterbacks the way that he would in a real game. Look, I think quarterback competition. I would assume he's there because he got paid, but quarterback competitions are probably the sexiest thing that you could ever tease in front of people. Like, that is like putting the best lure on a hook and sending it down to the bottom of the ocean where the grouper or the snapper are, right? Like, they want that so badly, especially if it's live bait, right? Like, they're going to get after that. That's what this is for Browns fans, but also NFL fans, because every NFL fan watched that Shedeur Sanders slide to the 5th round. And of course, Deion Sanders has spoken about it recently. Like, everybody it's like also when you've got all those people rubbernecking because there's an accident on the other side. Like, they don't want to look, but they can't not look at the same time.
It's a train wreck. You have to watch. By the way, Taylor, do we think maybe the Browns could send one of their quarterbacks to Indianapolis?
I mean, they
Which
have
one?
Not
Deshaun.
I mean, Joe Flacco.
True. He's not even listed.
Yeah, he's been in Indianapolis. He may not even play this season. They're not going to send one of the rookies because they don't know what they have yet. I feel like Kenny Pickett they're going to keep for the here and now, and then they want Joe Flacco, at least for now, to guide these guys, even though he's already told us, like, that's not my main role. I'm not here to be a mentor.
It's funny because what you were just saying, how sexy and appealing the quarterback competition is.
They're addicted.
This is the prime example of that because this is the least sexy quarterback room in the world, and we're reading charts of what they've done in OTA.
Correct. Like, imagine if Trevor Lawrence wasn't here and we were back to the days of like a Blaine Gabbert, and I forget who the backup was, or maybe like a Chad Henne, and then Chad Henne, Blake Bortles. Like, there was a for real competition between Chad Henne and Blake Bortles, and Blake looked so good in the preseason that they eventually said, all right, we're going to start him a little earlier than our plan was originally. But if it was all charted out, everyone's obsessed with that stuff. Like, you can't get enough.
This is just going to be a very interesting storyline to follow.
They did it to themselves, by the way.
Yeah, they have to have 3. Like, you're going to have 3. And so if you were to place a bet right now on the 3, who would you say?
I will say Flacco and the 2 rookies.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to.
Of who will be in the room.
Who will be the 3 in
I
week
think they
1.
trade
Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, they'll trade him again. Yeah, they'll trade Kenny Pickett again.
And Deshaun
maybe Kenny goes to
IR, maybe.
Yeah, honestly, I think it kind of makes sense. Like, he's got experience, and that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I said least sexy. That's a lie because the Saints, I think, have the least sexy of the entire
NFL. Maybe the Saints trade for Kenneth Pickett because the Saints are in a weird lurch as well.
Theirs is awkward. They posted a picture of their quarterbacks at camp, and all the comments said, who?
Derek Carr at least said that the reason he medically retired when he did is because he didn't want the Saints to have to pay him $30 million.
Oh, nice of him.
How chivalrous. How polite. Such a gentleman. I do think that was nice of him because he could have stayed on the roster and made that $30 million. But at the same time, what are Derek Carr's career earnings?
I know. Well, a lot. I don't think he's too worried about that. No. I also think that what we just saw in the Saints this last year, what was he there? 2 years, the last couple years, and then the Raiders before that, like, his team started hating him.
Correct. And that's why.
So it's probably a little awkward going into the room and they're like, you're making $30 million and you're doing nothing.
That's why his wife said, everybody's trying to make him, or everybody got upset with him. And then he ended up crying and I was crying and all these things. And again, I don't dislike him.
I'm now trying to find this picture of the quarterbacks for the Saints now. Is it on their official channel?
It was from one of the Saints reporters. Oh, okay. I'll try and find it.
$205 million for Derek Carr, his earnings in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
I think he'll be just fine, and the Saints can keep that $30 million. All right, I promised you we'll talk a little NHL and NBA. We will do that on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
School's out for summer. More time for 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm dedicated to helping businesses manage risk, maximize opportunities, and move their company forward. Jimerson Burr attorneys are business-oriented lawyers, equally comfortable as community leaders, private transaction counselors, or courtroom advocates. If you have a legal issue of any kind affecting your business, contact the firm at 389-0050 or jimersonfirm.com.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal. Pretty nice weather we're having, huh?
You think this is nice?
I mean, it's sunny, warm. We do live in Florida.
It's not all upside, Jason. Warm weather comes, so all the cool people hit the beach. My old air conditioner craps out, so it's 1,000 degrees inside, and I'm stuck on a video call in my underpants trying not to sweat through my...
Wait. Put these sunglasses on.
I'm not going to put on your...
Whoa. The air conditioning experts at Bueller Air and Plumbing can keep your home office cool and comfortable all summer long. You look good in your meeting, impress the big guy with your cool confidence, maybe finally make assistant deputy regional manager.
Wow, air conditioning can do that?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all summer worried the weather is going to be too nice, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
If you miss an interview, it'll be waiting for you on demand.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Search where you find podcasts. And at 1010XL.com. Trained by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars to trucks to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the screen, sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Peaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at peachesdermatology.com.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Zero Res. They want to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at $129 and 20% off your air duct cleaning. Call them 904-287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special.
June is Men's Health Month. Be proactive towards your prostate, ED, low T, even kidney stones with Ackerman Urology. Offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, the Beaches, and World Golf Village. Trust the men's health experts at AckermanUrology.com.
It's a battle of football champions as your Sharks take on the Arizona Rattlers. Don't miss any of the action this Saturday, June 7th. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new Family 4-Pack. 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
It's a battle of football champions as your Sharks take on the Arizona Rattlers. Don't miss any of the action this Saturday, June 7th. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try our Family Fun Pack. 4 tickets, 4 $10 vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. For tickets, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700.
Go Sharks!
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, breaking news.
Before we cool down, a little bit of news here in the River City. The Tax Slayer Gator Bowl and ESPN have announced that the 81st annual Tax Slayer Gator Bowl will be played on Saturday, December 27th at 7:30 p.m. at Everbank Stadium. It will be televised nationally on ABC. A shout out to our friends at Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, everyone involved with the Gator Bowl, because I know they are very, very excited to have this time slot. And
they do have tickets currently available through a limited presale that runs through Sunday. So make sure you visit taxslayergatorbowl.com to get those tickets in advance. And then the public tickets won't go on sale until September 4th.
And now let's cool down, RJ.
Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
As Lauren alluded to, we'll hit some NHL Stanley Cup Game 1 reaction. We'll hit some NBA playoffs. The NBA Finals, of course, begin in earnest tonight. But I want to talk a little hardball because breaking news as well out of the Tampa Bay region. The St. Petersburg City Council unanimously approved another $5.3 million for Tropicana Field's repairs and expenses as the home of the Rays for the future remains in flux. But obviously this is a positive sign.
I hope
Lauren?
it's a clear roof. Like, do not return that or bring back that awful gray
circus tent roof.
Yeah, I hated it. Obviously, a lot of players complain because the ball might hit the roof at times too, or they might lose it up there. But the way that the Rays look playing in an outdoor stadium, that's how baseball should be to me, especially in Florida. I know there's storms and stuff like that, but for the most part, it just looks so nostalgic, I'll say. And so I would prefer them to eventually create a different ballpark. But for the here and now, as they repair it, I would much rather them do more like what the Dolphins Stadium has, that Hard Rock has those
kind of
canopies, kind of. And so I would prefer something like that. Like, don't enclose it the way it was. It was damp and dark and disgusting.
The city is also picking up the tab for security costs at the Trop. The unanimously approved decision of $5.3 million more brings the total to $38.5 million to date. The total cost of the project, according to the Tampa Bay Times, is still on track to cost around $56 million. So
they're asking.
They're going to need more money.
They're
going to need more. So they're going to start.
So we're getting there, but we're not.
They're going to start. They have enough that they can probably start the repairs because the Rays are under contract to play at the Trop through the end of the 2028 season. And so then they'll start repairing it, even though for all we know in 2030,
they need a new stadium.
They could have a new stadium anyways.
Yeah, which it'll be interesting to see. Does it land in St. Pete or Tampa Bay, the actual cities where it ends up? Speaking of construction, cool to be down there at the Mill Electric Center today and look over and see the cranes, not just across the street along the river with the Four Seasons, but now actually working on Everbank Stadium. And so certainly it's going to look different as we move through the renovations of that stadium. And to your point, Mia, earlier about Travis Hunter and the energy and things like that, I do wonder if the offense, because we forgot to mention this, the offense got to start in the indoor area. So I wonder if they had that extra juice because they got to be in the air conditioning, no sunshine, right? And the defense, special teams were out still working in the heat.
It is because Florida this time of year, it's like, I always describe it to people when you are drying, when you're drying clothes and you open the dryer, but they're not dry yet. So it's like that damp, hot, just like wetness that you hit. That's what it is stepping out in Florida this time of year.
It certainly is. By the way, I wanted to mention this before we get to NHL. The Walk-Off Charities auction is live right now, and they have some incredible items. Go to walkoffcharities.com and it'll take you to that link. I am currently looking at the 4 club seats to Florida, Georgia, but now that I've said that on air, that means that people are going to bid against me. So please don't do that. But no, go drive the prices up because obviously everything goes to a great cause. They put so many kids throughout the city of Jacksonville into baseball that would not otherwise be able to afford it. All right, Taylor, I know you were at the baseball game last night. So I don't know, did you make it home in time for overtime between...
Yes, so we also were watching it at the baseball game. Okay. We had it on our phones at the baseball game.
There's TVs in the power alley, right?
Yeah, there's TVs in the power alley. We just had it set up on our phone, but then when the game was over, we went over to somewhere close and finished and actually watched the rest of the probably like last 6 minutes of the third period and then overtime. So yes, we were watching.
It was so exciting. Obviously, I don't care who wins. I don't have rooting interest for either of these teams, but the Panthers got off to such a good start that I was like, well, everyone's told me that they're the bully of the NHL and they're probably just going to win this game. Plus, they're talented too. They're not just the most physical team. So the fact to me that Edmonton came back and won is a really good sign because the team that wins game 1 of the Stanley Cup final wins the whole thing 76.5% of the time. Wow. So that one overtime goal, and it may not, there's another percentage there. Yeah. But certainly that could mean that the Oilers are going to get revenge.
Yeah, it's last night had to have been frustrating for the Panthers because you are up 3-1 and then you feel like they honestly to me just like gassed towards the end, and that's something that you haven't really seen from them. Right. It's something that I've been bragging. When I brag about the Panthers, I talk about how fast they are and how tough they are and how quick they are and how they can do everything, and you feel like they never get tired. They have a rotation of guys that they can kind of keep fresh, and so that's been kind of the highlight of what's gotten them through this last few years in general. But last night, it seemed, especially once it hit overtime, it felt like it was so slow. They had the early one that hit the post and bounced off, and then that was like
breakaway.
Yeah. Then the Oilers had the one that hit the post and bounced out, and then it was all Oilers. They were in the Oilers zone almost the entire rest of the overtime, and then you get a penalty. So the last minute 20, you're on a penalty, and as soon as that happened, I was like, this is done, because the Panthers already looked like they were kind of playing slower, and then now you're down a guy too. I was like,
because the puck
this
went
isn't good.
out of the rink, which is what caused that power play. So Leon Draisaitl, I did not know who that was until last night.
He's one of the best players in hockey right now. Like him and McDavid are two. That's when you talk about two of the best players in the NHL right now. It's those two guys, and that's been kind of the comparison. Is the Edmonton has these two guys who are two of the best hockey players in the NHL, and the Florida Panthers have a lot of really good guys. So it's like, how are they going to match this up when you have two of the best, and then you have really good players on the Panthers, but it's more so kind of evenly spread. And so it was. I think it's still going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to Game 7. And I was talking to Trent Osborne, who obviously is he's a big Florida Panthers fan, and so I was talking to him today about it.
Also a Colts fan. Just for those of you keeping score.
I don't get the obviously
and
Panthers fan, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. I guess you guys know that. People listening probably do not know that. But we were having the conversation about it. I was like, dang, like the end of that game sucked. Those are some of the most frustrating games, and hockey overtime is so stressful. It's intense every single second because you feel like you're watching and everything is kind of going fast, and then all of a sudden they score a goal and it's over in 1 second. And so we were talking about that, but he mentioned, he was like, honestly, we're talking about probably the best team in the NHL right now, and it took them overtime to beat us at home. So Panthers fans are probably looking at it in a positive light, honestly. Like, you're on the road and you pushed them to the absolute limits, and how much energy did they use in that overtime to even be able to win? So I think Panthers fans are kind of still, they're not worrying yet. If you go down 2-0 and then you'd want to come back and hopefully win at home, but I don't even know if the level of concern coming back 2-0 would be high. If you lose one at home right away, then I think you'd start getting kind of scared.
Who is the better goalie?
I'd say the Panthers.
Yeah, I was going to say the Panthers.
And people were kind of crapping on him last night, but I was like, he had 47 saves.
Yeah, I was going to say he was on his head.
Yeah.
I would also like to note for Jim the Heeligan out there that I did see the game-tying third goal for the Edmonton Oilers last night. So I did, in fact, see a goal during this game. I went to bed before the overtime period began. So, so I did not see the game winner, but I did see a goal. So the streak is over, folks. I did joke with our friend Max from the Jaguars in-house video team, which, as he told me today at practice, like the Panthers were the first team that he fell in love with in sports. I said to him, I'm like, look, I don't want to be that guy, but if you're the Panthers, well, yes, flags fly forever. You are the reigning champs. Don't forget that they almost blew a 3-1 lead last year in the Stanley Cup Finals. So, like, that's where I was like, honestly, as much as the stat that Lauren has is elite, and it suggests maybe not this isn't the best thing for y'all. I don't know. I think that you got them right where you want them if you're a Panthers fan out there, because maybe this is the opposite of what occurred a year ago.
Yeah, you just never want to relinquish the 3-1 lead. Like, when you have that, at some point, I think you have to make an adjustment, and this is coming from a soccer playing person, not hockey, but the sports are similar. You have to make an adjustment and make sure they don't score another goal.
Oh, no,
like,
sorry. I should have clarified. I'm in 3-1 lead in the series.
No,
like, they
I know.
were up 3
I know.
games to
And
1.
I'm saying also last night.
Yes, they
Panthers
also,
had the
right,
3-1.
yeah.
And to me, again, soccer's the sport I played. You change things up, they don't score another goal. Like in soccer, you're not, unless they have one of those people who is like a Rose Lavelle who can score a goal from 40 yards away. And it's very different in hockey. Obviously, it's compressed. All right, let's get it to the NBA Finals. Give people a little bit of information. Oklahoma City was 2-0 over Indiana in the regular season this year. However, Chet Holmgren did not play in either of those games. So, RJ, as a resident NBA expert, how does Chet Holmgren factor in?
I think you got a guy who can extend the floor. That kind of being a guy that's a stretch 4, stretch 5, can play at all 3 levels. I mean, he's stretch Armstrong himself.
Yeah.
Being about 7'9".
Is he 7'9"?
No, but I mean,
because Olivier Roux is 7'9".
Yeah, but every time
7'1".
Yeah.
Every time he scores, I just say big ass. I mean, because he's just too damn tall.
He just looks like a pterodactyl because, like, I just never seen a human being. I mean, Travis Hunter has skinny ankles, but Chet Holmgren is like, I mean, it's on a different level.
I mean, but if you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, and if you're saying that this is their third piece to their big three, I think having them is a definite advantage for Oklahoma City. I do want to see just how he's able to maneuver against what I believe is going to be a team that is going to be physical. I mean, I had Samaki Walker on just not too long ago, and he was just talking about the physicality of both teams. I do want to see what the refs are going to be willing to let go, what's going to be a foul call, and how much are they going to let certain individuals play. And I feel in a series for all the marbles, I think they're going to let them play a lot. So let's see how Chet is able to do against physical bodies such as Miles Turner, Obi Toppin. You also have Thomas Bryant there that's can be a guy that can guard, stretch big. So certainly do want to see what the refs are going to let the Indiana Pacers as well as OKC get away with. And if you're going to talk about Chet Holmgren, who, I mean, can get buckets with the best of them even at his height, let's see what happens.
Yeah, certainly the refs were a big talking point when it came to Pacers-Knicks. And it felt like to the Knicks fans, of course, that the Pacers got all the calls. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. But refereeing in basketball, I do think that's an under-talked-about storyline because obviously the more physical team, if the rest let you get away with stuff, that's to your advantage. One other nugget that I read, the fact that the Thunder have the highest turnover percentage as far as forcing opponents to turn over the ball, while the Pacers have the NBA's third lowest turnover rate. So in other words, Thunder on defense always going to turn you, or not always, but that they're always looking to turn over the ball, and then the Pacers don't really turn it over. So it's strength on strength, but which side ends up winning?
And I saw one too, another stat that was interesting to me, and it said OKC, excuse me, this year never lost 4 games in any 7-game span the entire season. That's a pretty wild number to look at.
Yeah, I mean they've been the best team in the NBA. Sam Presti built for this moment, so it would be a massive victory lap for the proof of concept of the Thunder trading away every asset they had ever known, acquiring draft picks that honestly, like RJ, it feels like they go out to 2050. Like they still are acquiring draft picks from their current roster. At the same time, the Pacers have history on their side. They have been to the NBA Finals before, even though it wasn't in the 21st. Well, I guess technically it was the 21st century. And so I'm fascinated to see what Pacers team we see tonight. And RJ, correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I think their best offense is when they get out in transition. And to Lauren's point, perhaps that opens up the door for potential turnovers. But I don't think there's a better offense for Indiana than when Tyrese Halliburton is, much like his counterpart on the women's side in the city of Indianapolis, trying to find someone cross-court, heaving it, whether that be Obi Toppin, Thomas Bryant, who obviously has come on of late. Would you agree with that sentiment? Because I do think that that's where, by pushing pace, maybe you try and wear down OKC.
I think OKC is going to be able to run with Indiana. Okay. That's not going to be the issue. What I do like is Indiana in the half court, and just hearing from Steve Nash, just what Indiana is able to do in the half court offensively, I think that does confuse quite a few teams. Just kind of with what they do off the ball. If you're watching off the ball and you're not watching Tyrese Halliburton, you'll see how they'll use blur screens, how they'll use flare screens, how they'll have, a couple of guys moving, just around in the half court set, to where there are guys who are saying, normally if I'm in help, if I'm seeing a second guy also coming while the screen is coming down, do I stay home? Do I now take that guy whose responsibility is that? What am I supposed to do there defensively? So I think a guy like Rick Carlisle and the movement in which he implements in the half court is certainly something that is going to be something I'll be keeping an eye on during the NBA Finals. But I look at a team such as OKC. I mean, they're going to be looking to run too. So I don't believe that this is going to be, hey, if Indiana is able to push the pace and push the tempo, which they're really great at, they'll be able to have an advantage in this series. I truly do believe this is going to be a game that once all the running is done, I just believe that you now have to say who was a better team in the half court. And we saw early on with teams like Indiana, if you look at them through the duration of this playoff run, when they're able to start hitting shots, especially in half court sets, whether that be Andrew Nembhard, whether that be Aaron Nesmith, when you have
Tyrese with 3 seconds left on the clock,
when you have Tyrese Halliburton, sending something up to Jesus, and Jesus says, "All right, I'll let it go in."
It's okay. They just lost Jim Irsay. I'll take I'll take something for Indiana.
Right. If Miles Turner is hitting a couple, down, to start off the game, I think that's able to open a lot of things up for a team such as the Indiana Pacers. So let's see what happens tonight. It's game one. Hopefully this series goes all 7, because if it doesn't, I'm without basketball for the next few months, and I'm going to be absolutely miserable.
Yes, you might.
We'll make you a WNBA fan, RJ. It's okay.
All right, let's say hello to Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Matt, I saw you out at practice today. What'd you think?
Honestly?
Honestly.
Pretty much looked like every other of the last, 4, 5, 6 years. It's the OTAs. I will say this. They did run a lot of stuff that they typically run in regular practice. So I like the fact that they're doing that. And we're going to talk today about, I like the way Anthony Campanile coaches. He's very much a hands-on type of guy. I don't mean that in a physical way.
He's not kicking them.
Right.
Well, he did get a start
kicking the kicker's leg. Right.
He did get a start in college, Matt, and so that's where I wonder. Him having a background as a college coach, Liam Cohen having a background as a college coach. The kicker did have a background as a college coach as well, but ultimately, there's something to that, is there not?
I think there is. I also think I like the way he doesn't if one rep doesn't go how he wants it to go, he's not letting the guy go back in the back,
right?
Grabbing and saying no, go back and do it again. And that's what I never saw previously. There was a lot of standing around previously, and now there's no standing around, and I like that. So it's similar. It's similar periods, similar individual work. I'm sure that's the same all over the NFL. but I think it's the tempo that's going on out there.
And that's what I said. I said it was the tempo going from one period to the other. But then I also noted after any completion that was like above average, I saw Travis Hunter like running over to like high five guys. And I saw other players start doing it after.
Right.
And that, again, I don't want to be all hoorah, but like ultimately that's one of the most freakish athletes we've ever seen on a college football field, who came into this league with all the expectations, and like he's out here like exerting extra energy to go hype up somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's the one thing I will say of the OTAs that I've been to and seen. I will say there's really nothing that Trevor Lawrence has done with that made me go, wow, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's just basically down the line.
Yeah.
He's just a pro out there right now, just going through 7-on-7 drills, going through individual drills. It's nothing where you're going to go out there and say, okay, now I see he's different now. So if you're expecting to see that in mini camp, or you're expecting to see that in camp, I don't know that you're going to see that. But I think the tell obviously will be when the games begin, even the preseason games. I think if he looks sharp in the preseason, then I think you got a good indicator of where things are headed.
Well, and it's a new staff, so we don't know how much these starters are going to play in the preseason. We don't know if Trevor's going to play in any of the preseason.
I'd be shocked if starters didn't play in the preseason. I mean, you got guys that are, that are playing for jobs.
Yeah. It's just we don't know the full. We can't look back and say, well, this is Liam Cohen's tendency. This is how he's done it in the past, because he hasn't been a head coach before. So we'll find out. By the way, hoorah is a Marine Corps term. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just meant more of the hoopla.
Yeah,
hoopla.
The rah-rah.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what's coming up?
We are going to talk OTAs. We're going to get into a little college football. And did you guys see the environment last night in Edmonton for the game one of the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, wild.
Holy cow. So we're going to get into that. What's the craziest environment you've ever been in?
Ooh, good one.
And you know, what was it like, and your highlights of it, and what will you never forget? It's just, I was just struck at the intensity of that game, too. They're down 3-1.
Yeah.
They came back and won the game late in overtime. Like, I thought it was going to a second overtime.
I did too.
Impressive.
Well, until the penalty happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, Gainesville 2006, Florida playing host to South Carolina. I believe that us, the crowd, helped block that kick.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Jarvis Moss. All right,
Okay.
thanks, Matt.
All right.
We'll be listening. That'll do it for us today. For me, O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking, but don't go anywhere. XL Primetime.